So video number 2 on ARs. And this is a rather interesting one because I'm kind of sick of seeing this. And you guys buy cheap stuff and it's very annoying. And also when you do that, don't pull the trigger because that's how you break these piece of crap. This one's not a piece of crap, but I know a lot of guys usually like to use mil-spec lower, quote unquote, mil-spec lower parts from who knows where you guys buy them from. But I will get into details of what makes this one so damn good. And I could tell you that the assortment of parts that are in this gun lower parts kits is from a very insanely good quality company. I've gone through numerous amount of lower parts from Aero and they're just crap. I will never ever use Aero products ever again. I understand I have an Aero M4E1 lower receiver, but I will never use this brand ever again as their quality of their machining is just crap. But I'm not stuck with this. I can change it eventually, but I will never use Aero ever again. And I don't recommend anybody else doing it either. So you guys go to the store or you guys go online and you buy these cheap PSA, you buy Anderson, you buy, I don't know, any cheap company parts, lower parts get in there. Just assume that. And when I say cheap, I don't mean like these top tier brands like Geisley, DD, and I'm assuming some of them have crap parts too. So my lower parts is actually from Forward Controls Designs. And what makes them different is they're coated for anti-rust and they're stronger parts. Their springs are all chromoly springs. They do what they need to do. Their detents are high quality. Their pull pins, their breakdown pins are high quality. Their mag release is high quality, even on this side. I understand I have a bed lever. And I would say the part that really goes under, depending on what you want to do, if you want a mil-spec, if you want a mil-spec style bolt release, you go with S7 tool. They use an insane high quality steel, heat treated, forged billet bolt release. And I've broken 3 of these little Aero bolt releases that you get from their lower parts. I've broken 3 of those. And don't ask me how I broke 3 of them. I have no idea. I've bent one. They're crap. Don't buy them. And then also this pin right here, the buffer tube detent that keeps the buffer tube in. This is tool steel from Forward Controls. It is insanely strong. I've yet to bend this, but I can tell you right now that I've broken almost every single Aero detent spring, buffer spring, whatever you want to call it. I've broken every single one. They've sheared off, they bend. Hate it. So I had to find one that doesn't break. And while we're on this topic, we're going to talk about some common things with ARs that I see. People just let it go under the sun, and it's not necessarily good. Safety is, I think it's from, I forgot who this is from, but they make, it's a bad, I think it's a BAD safety. It's ambi. I could take it off, take it on, do whatever I need to do. But I had been out of the AR game for a little bit. I haven't been really shooting too much AR. I've been into the pistols. But I want to get into something, and I'm sure many people have seen it. If your buffer weight has indentations from this pin, your lower is out of spec, or your buffer tube is out of spec. Either one. It's very hard to tell. Most of the time it's the buffer tube because buffer tubes most companies don't care to make a high quality buffer tube. There is a Geisley buffer tube on this. And this is a PWS buffer and PWS backplate and castle nut, high quality. Although I understand why staking is important, it doesn't use a stake. It uses a detent system that locks in with these little grooves and it prevents it from turning. It hasn't turned. I haven't seen it turned. I have a witness mark under here, so you can't see it. I don't want it to be noticeable, but it hasn't moved. I've taken it on and off twice. Probably not the best, but it hasn't moved. Needless to say, When your buffer has detent marks in it, your buffer tube is out of spec. What you could do is stick a quarter in there, drop a 1/4 or 2/4, usually 1/4 works, and throw it back in. It's because this is out of spec and this is slamming. So when you put the upper on, the buffer sits like this and it's not supposed to make contact with this while firing. It's not supposed to hit this detent. This detent is there so when you flip the upper off, it doesn't make, it just retains the buffer weight. That's all it does. So if it's making contact with it, your buffer tube or lower, or even the hole that's drilled into this is out of spec. It's not supposed to make contact with it. You could even go as far as the bolt. Your bolt is also out of spec, but very rarely is that the case. It's usually a buffer tube. And you guys need to start buying some quality stuff. And even their magazine release is high quality. So for lower parts kits, I highly recommend that you guys buy and start buying high quality parts, because I have numerous amount of time with bad quality parts from this company that break. And guess what? They don't care. They won't send you a new part. They make you buy a whole new parts kits, especially with their crappy customer service that they recently started to have. That started during COVID, but needless to say, buy quality lower parts and buy parts from quality companies. My recommendation for lowers parts, Geisley upper lowers, Geisley buffer tube. Their buffer tubes come with a backplate and castle nut. It's regular mil-spec steel, regular material. I'm sure it works. It might get rusty, might not, but it's, you know, it's in spec. Geisley their QC is all done by, it all passes through one individual or individuals. For lowers, Geisley, buffer tubes, Geisley, lower parts kits, forward controls. I would never ever put anything other than lower forward control part kits in any of my ARs. This is my only AR now, and that's all my, if I build ARs in the future, that's all that's going to go in my guns is forward controls. I trust them. S7 Tool, they also have lower parts kits. They make a lot of stuff out of titanium. It's a little bit more money. If you have the money, spend it. Very cool. But S7 Tool for mil-spec OEM high strength bolt catch. Won't break this. Have 3 of them. I had 3 ARs, but I sold 2. And then safety. Another thing that people really need to understand is when you're playing with this safety, you need to make sure that when the gun is on safe, that the hammer doesn't come forward when you pull the trigger and the weapon is on safe. It needs to be safe. And I've already witnessed installing a trigger from a company, and in safe, the hammer lifted, because you don't actually even want this at 40 degrees. You want like a 60-degree safety, because at 40 degrees, you could, from what I've seen, you could actually pull this enough to where the hammer can drop. And if you get one that's out of spec or even in spec, and the trigger, depending on whose trigger you're using, the hammer will drop. And guess what? Your weapon will be unsafe. You go to pull the trigger, someone pulls the trigger and the gun goes off. You don't want that. You want to be safe. So I figured I'd make these videos. HRF makes this mag flare, by the way, because I'm sure someone's going to ask. And on a bad lever, this is a PRS Lite, BCM mod. I think this is the mod 1, not too sure. And then a SSAEX by Geisley. And that's it. You've seen this AR. I could show the upper, actually, if you guys want to see it. So here's the upper. It's a DD bolt, Geisley Super Duty charging handle, not airborne, and forward controls dust cover with a forward controls. Oh no, I think this is a S7 tool charging handle, which I really not a big fan of charging handles, but hey, rather have it than not have it, because eventually someone's going to need it, right? And that's it. And even this is modded out. I've broken a firing pin. I've worn a firing pin down. This cam pin right here is from forward controls. It's dimpled right there. And the firing pin is a JP lightweight titanium firing pin, because regular steel ones rust. And I'm not saying it rusts because it's a piece of crap. We live in New York, or I live in New York. And a forward controls firing pin keeper, the detent that goes through there. It's all modded. The only thing stock on this is the DD bolt itself and the carrier. Everything else is from other brands that are reputable. And also, while we're on topic of this, change your damn gas rings. You should not be able to sit your carrier up like this, and I understand that's not the best test to do it, but you guys shoot your guns, or your guns, and don't ever change the parts that are in your bolt carrier group. Gas rings should be the first thing that you're changing. Like every 10,000 rounds. Well, most of you don't even shoot 1,000 rounds. So those of you that do shoot, change your damn gas rings, please. Your gun will cycle better. But even these springs need to be changed. Trigger springs wear out. Your buffer tube spring wears out, and I have a Springco. I use a Springco. I think there's a red white in here, but I go, depending on what ammo I'm using and how hot it is, I'll switch between a blue and a red white, just because I don't like the impulse from regular carbine springs, and I understand that you can optimize rifle gas ports to just use a carbine, but most companies have to make a barrel for the variety of ammos that are out there. There is a company called BRT, and they sell a gas tube that is, the hole is smaller, so you can pretty much make your gun reliable on one type of ammo and that's it. But manufacturers realize that most people don't shoot one ammo out of their gun, one set of ammunition out of their gun. So like for me, I'm only shooting 69 grain, 77 grain out of this gun. I'm not really putting anything else through it. I'm gonna try to see how accurate it will throw M855 by PMC out. I don't know what the groups are gonna be, but we're gonna find out in the springtime. But you can go to a BRT gas tube, I think it's called BRT Tactical, I'm not too sure, but they make custom gas tubes. And if you have an overgas gun, which most of you do, because manufacturers have to overgas their guns so you can run Wolf steel ammo and a variety of 223 ammo through a 5.56 barrel. And most of them are overgassed, so you're just beating the crap out of your guns because they're overgassed. And when I say they're overgassed, if your gun is ejecting at the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it's overgassed. It's, as long as your buffer tube and buffer spring and whatnot else is optimized to handle the overgassing, you'll be okay. So if your gun is overgassed, just change your buffer weight to a Springco blue or Springco red, and you should be okay. And you should go back to ejecting at 3 o'clock. There's more to this. I want to make an AR series just based off of my knowledge and what I know and testing that I've done. Because one aspect of ARs that really severely go underlooked is a carrier speed. and that's very important, simply for the fact of reliable ejection, pressure inside your gun. There's numerous other things. I just want to make an entirely separate series for it, but I just wanted to come on here and talk about maintenance and springs and the crap that you guys put in your guns, because it's crap and it doesn't last, and I've seen it break, and numerous amount of times break. There's a reason why people say, yeah, I have no issues with PSA, and they've never they don't put 5,000 rounds to their gun. So of course their gun works, that sits in their closet. They've only fired 100 rounds out of it. Yeah, it works. Is it gonna work at 10,000 rounds, 5,000 rounds, 15,000 rounds, 20,000 rounds? Probably not. I can assure you that. I've seen arrows break. Arrows are not the great quality. And another thing before I end this video, Super Duty, Geisley Super Duty rifles and uppers are probably, if not the best uppers for the money that you could buy. Hands down. I'm not going to BS you guys. Had I not built that criteria in my upper, I'd probably have a Geisley upper and lower. But, all right, that's it. This will be posted on Tuesday. This is being filmed on a Monday. And that's that, guys. So this is a bolt action, by the way, quote unquote.